Once again, we are talking to Trans-Siberian Orchestra drummer Jeff Plate, and they're coming back to the DCU Center here in Worcester. It has become quite the holiday tradition for many to come back and witness the spectacle that is a Trans-Siberian Orchestra show, and that's November 29th. The tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. Jeff, thanks again for talking with us. We appreciate it.
You bet. Always good to talk to you as well. And I tell you, it's really cool to get back to my old stomping ground. I lived in Worcester in the mid 80s for a while and attended quite a few concerts at that arena. So it's always pretty neat to get back in there and be on that stage.
Where exactly did you live, if you can remember, here in Worcester, just to give people a reference?
God, I can't remember the side street, but it was off of Park Ave.
Okay.
I can see the apartment building I lived in, but I can't remember the name of the street.
Have you ever ventured over there? Because I know you guys have been back here several times. Have you ever had time to maybe venture over, take a look at the old place, if it's still there?
No, I haven't. We're usually there on a double show day, so there's very little time for that.
Right.
But I would love to. Actually. If I get back out there with a couple minutes to spare, I'd love to take a ride in the old neighborhood and just see it again. You know, that's where a lot of things happen for me. And honestly, I lived in Worcester for several years, but then ended up moving to Boston and lived on the South Shore of Boston for a while. And that's where I really, improved as a musician, but also met the people that brought me into the band Savatage, which later morphed into TSO. And here we are talking about it now.
Yeah. Yeah. That was back in the Wicked Witch days, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll talk about Savatage in a little bit for the good news on that stuff. But let's talk about this upcoming tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve. You guys, if you haven't seen Trans-Siberian Orchestra, it is a massive show. It takes an army of people to mobilize and set this thing up. And Jeff, you've been with them since day one. What is it about this tour? You always say it's bigger than better. I never believe you. But then I go and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't believe they actually made it bigger and better. It's hard to imagine a bigger show, but what are some of the features this year on the TSO experience?
Well, you mentioned the story that we're presenting, The Ghost of Christmas Eve. So we'll be doing that again. We always change up the set list, regardless of what story we are performing in the front half of the show. The intro of the show is usually a little different. The back half of the show is usually a little different. This year, we're actually going to show tribute to Beethoven's Last Night, which was TSO's first non-seasonal album, which was released in the year 2000. So this is 25 years since that album was released, and we're going to do a little something special for that. And I tell you, every year I look at it and say, it's better than last year. We can't really get bigger, but we can improve on what we've been doing. And we have such a great staff of people that work on this year-round. The different technology, for effects, for video, for the lighting, we incorporate as much of that as we can into our show. And this was something that was near and dear to Paul O'Neill's heart. He loved production. He loved putting on this spectacle. And we try to follow that lead every year. And like I said, the team of people behind this that put this stuff together are fantastic. And this year will be no different. So it's going to be another good one.
How many, if you could estimate, how many people are on the crew that sets everything up?
God, we were just talking about this. I think, so we travel with 20 tractor trailers.
Oh, God.
There are 12 tour buses, plus a catering bus with a trailer and a crew there. There's got to be close to 80 people that travel with us. Maybe more. I should actually count that up and see for sure. But every city that we get to, there's a whole other crew of local stagehands that help set this show up. So there's upwards of 150 people, 200 people that are putting this thing together throughout the day. And there's a reason why we can do 2 shows a day and then get to the next city and be ready for a matinee. We have the best crew.
Yeah.
These guys are fantastic, and most of them come back every year. So they know the drill. They're in for a lot of work, and they all love it and come back.
You mentioned catering. What does Jeff Plate demand on his rider before every show.
What do I demand?
Yes. I mean, did you have like the extra large bag of Cheetos? I mean, what are you looking at there?
Well, hey, as we get along in years here, we have to be a little more careful about what we eat. I try to be really health conscious. You know, I've got a lot of work to do up there. I can't be weighed down with heavy food or nothing like that. But the catering people, they do a great job of trying to give everybody, you know, something that they like. You've got some people with food allergies and stuff like that you have to be aware of and try to accommodate. But you know, it's all good. There's great food every day. I really try to just be careful with what I'm eating. I want to feel good every show and get up there and, you know, not feel bogged down and not have an upset stomach or anything. But hey, you know, we are very lucky to have this crew of people with us, and they really take care of us.
Yeah, 2 shows a day, and being the drummer, I would imagine you burn a couple thousand calories while you're up there.
For sure. It's a long show. I get a number of breaks. I mean, for people that have seen TSO before, you realize there's a story, there's narration, but there's also, you know, some softer songs. There are a couple breaks in the show which really allow me to catch my breath, and you know, so doing 2 shows a day, yes, it is a lot of work, but I've really learned over the years how to pace myself. I want to be as fresh on that last show as I am on the first, so it's really important.
Well, you guys are bringing back something you haven't done since 2019, and that is the signing line. So basically, it's people can line up, and you guys will sign one thing from each person, right? So you're bringing that back again this year?
Yeah, we did this since we started in 1999, you know, and Paul O'Neill really felt that this was important. It was a way for us to literally connect and meet our audience. Yeah. And it really was a special thing that for all these years, and just a little treat for people that want to come by, get something signed, meet the band, meet the vocalists. You know, everybody in the band is really nice and everybody really enjoys it. But obviously when COVID came along in 2020, that kind of shut all that down. But I think we're in a good place now. We still got to keep an eye on some things, but yeah, it's going to be nice seeing the people again, and a lot of familiar faces, and I'm sure a lot of new faces too. So we're looking forward to it.
You had a milestone last year. If people don't know, TSO donates at least $1 from every ticket sold to local charities, and you hit the $20 million mark last year, which is fantastic. And I know you guys donate to the Lupus Foundation of Central Mass when you're here, and I think last year it was something phenomenal, like 11,000 or something like that. But and that's something that I think you told me in the past that Paul O'Neill also felt strongly about.
Sure, it was a way for him, a way for us to give back to the community. You know, Paul was a very generous person, but also very aware of his situation was not the same as everybody else's. Holidays are going to be a great time for a lot of people, and for some people, they're very tough. Some people are struggling. He felt this is a really, really nice way to give back to the community, help some of these people out, and it includes the audience. You know, everybody in the audience is donating to something that is helping their community and maybe helping somebody that they know. So it's a win-win all across the board. And, you know, you mentioned the dollar figure. I think now it's over 21 million, but
wow,
that really is remarkable. I mean, you think about all the people that have benefited from this, a slew of different charities. I mean, you name it. We've got most of them covered, but it really is something we feel good about. And, you know, we're going to continue this until we can. So,
well, that's awesome. Those tickets again go on sale Friday. So remember, when you're buying tickets at TSO, there's some of that money going to help people out. If we could, Jeff, talk about the newly reformed Savatage, from which TSO came from, an amazing band in the 80s. Through most of the 90s. Well, is this a reformation or is this a reboot? Because obviously Paul O'Neill not there, and John Oliva has like severe back problems where he can't perform. So would you call this a reboot of Savatage?
Sure. I mean, you frame it however you want to. we had not performed since 2002. And, Paul and John decided, and rightly so, let's focus on TSO and really make the best of this that we can. And they did a great job with that. But Savatage, the fan base has never given up on us. John Oliva did an interview a couple of years ago and, mentioned how he would love to get back on the road and write some new music. And this just started this whole fire again with the fan base. And next thing you know, promoters started calling. So this year, well, actually it was last year, we got some offers that were substantial. And obviously in this day and age, nothing is cheap. You've got to be very, very smart and practical about how you go about these things. And it just made sense. The catch with all of it, obviously, as you mentioned, was that John was not going to be able to perform with us. He did a number of interviews, explained his situation, gave us his blessing. I mean, for, myself, Al Petrelli, Chris Caffrey, and Johnny Middleton, we've all been here for over 30 years.
Yeah.
So, with this core has been Savatage, this core has been TSO. John obviously trusts us with his baby and trusts us with his music. So we put the thing together. Obviously, we could not replace John, but we brought in two other players, very good keyboard players, very good vocalists. How do we take this lineup, including Zach Stevens on vocals? Mm-hmm. How do we take this lineup and respectfully represent Savatage, without John? So is there something, we can't replace him, but how can we recreate this and bring it out again, making it just as good or as good as we possibly can? And I think we achieved that. We went to South America in April. We went to Europe in June. The shows were fantastic. The reaction has just been so over the top. And there's some really cool things ahead for us in the future. But it all comes down to the music. Right. John Oliva, his brother Chris, started this thing in the 80s. Paul O'Neill came aboard for 1986, the Hall of the Mountain King record. Mm. And when Paul came aboard, Savatage took, a number of steps forward as far as musicality, the lyric, the presentation, the production. So those three men created something that is just, it's timeless music. There really is no time frame or whatever. You can't really put Savatage music in a box, and it lives on. So we went out and did these shows. It was awesome. It was awesome. So I've always loved playing this music. It just fits me like a T. And the band, obviously, we're a little bit older. We're a little bit more mature. We approach things a little bit differently. We put a lot of time into rehearsal, going over vocals, all the parts. I tell you, man, I was playing parts wrong for years. we went into the studio and I it's a certain drum parts. I mean, like, for instance, Sirens, just the old classic Savatage song. And there was one part in the chorus where I was playing the drum beat wrong. And I don't know why, but I just did for years and nobody said nothing about it. So we went back in and relearned everything.
Nobody said anything?
No.
Well, it must have been good.
Well, it wasn't necessarily wrong, but at the same time, we decided we're going to pick every song apart and relearn it from scratch. And that's exactly what we did.
Wow.
And it wasn't just me. I mean, there was, Al Petrelli and Chris Caffrey are going over guitar parts. They're like, what are you playing there? Oh, I've been playing this. Oh, that ain't right, So all this stuff really, really got cleaned up. And I think probably musically, the band was as strong as it's ever been. And like I said, the fan base, it's cliche. We can't do it without them. But in all seriousness, they were out in force. And some of our headline shows over in Europe were just amazing. It was great stuff. So looking forward to doing it some more.
Any chance of U.S. dates?
That all depends on, does it make sense?
Right. Okay.
Savatage. We also approach this as, how would Paul want us to present this music?
Yeah.
TSO is known for its production and this, these grandiose shows and this and that. Savatage does not have that type of budget, to do such a thing. But we can make the show that much better. So this one thing that we did this year, we went out with proper production. You know, we went out with video, had a really great crew with us, and we need to present a show. And in order to do that, you know, nothing's cheap.
Right.
It costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money just to get out of the parking lot before you even do your first show. So if we can make something happen here that's practical, makes sense for everybody financially, and, you know, fits into our life schedules and et cetera, we're there. Trust me. So there's a lot of things being talked about, and hopefully in the future, not too far from now, we'll be able to do something here in the States.
Nice. Well, I hope that happens. Love to see you guys live again. And Jeff Plate, drummer for Savatage and Trans-Siberian Orchestra, coming back to the DCU Center here in Worcester on November 29th. Again, those tickets go on sale Friday. Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you in November.
Okay, Mike. Take care, buddy.